All right, the next part of this PowerPoint covers something called percent of change. The percent of change is always in relationship to a previous or base amount. They call it the previous amount or the base amount. I like to call it the old amount. And then when you compare it to a new amount with the base as follows, the percent of change is going to be, let's see, I'm going to use some different colors here. You're going to take your new amount, subtract the base amount or the old amount, and then you divide it by the base amount. And of course, this is how I like to remember it. I just call it the old amount compared to the new amount. So it's new minus old divided by old. But if you were to click on any of the My Math Lab, show me an example for a problem, it's going to talk about new amount and base amount. But the base is really the original old amounts. It's whatever you started with. Anywho, let's look at an example of this. This year, tuition at a university was $7,965, and next year the tuition increased to $8,435. What is the percent of increase? So you start with the new amount, and the new amount is going to be for next year. That's your new amount. And then your old amount, it was that number. That's your base amount. It's what it was. So you can see that they're putting in all the right numbers, whoops, in all the right places. Doot. So you subtract in the numerator, subtract those two amounts, you get 470. You divide it by the 7,965. And then if you've never seen this here before, it looks like an equal sign that's having an anxiety attack. That means approximate. So it's not quite equal to that, but it's close because it's been rounded off. Anyway, it means approximate. And they got 0.059, but don't forget, you have to then multiply that times 100 to get it into percent form. So that becomes 5.9%. So the tuition will increase almost 6% from this year to the next at this, whatever this university it is. Okay, next. Okay, so that was percent of increase. It also works for decrease. Let me go back one slide. If your new amount is actually smaller than your old amount, when you do new amount minus old amount, you'll get a negative answer. And that just means that it's going to decrease. You would interpret the negative as a decrease percent change. All right. And then we come to this. There are certain equations which they refer to as percent equation. And the formula says if you take your percent and you multiply it times your base amount, whatever it might be, that is going to, where's my bright green? There it is. That is going to equal your new amount. You'll notice that yellow and blue make green. This is called the percent equation. Now there's three pieces to it. There's the percent, there's the base, and there's the amount. In order to use this equation, you have to know two of them, and then you can find the third. If I know percent and base, all I have to do is multiply to find the amount. If I know the base and the amount, in order to get to the percent, I'd have to divide. Same thing is if I know the percent and the amount and I'm looking for the base, here I would have to divide to find the base. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so here's three examples. There are three basic types of percent problems. The first one says, find a given percent of a given number. So they just want me to find 25% of 640. This is a flat out multiplication problem, and the word of, when it comes between two numbers, means to multiply. The second kind, it says find a percent given two numbers. This one says 15 is what percent of 50? The word is your equal sign, and the word of means to multiply. And then the third one says find a number that is a given percent of another number. It says 10% of what number is 12. This of would be your multiplication sign, and this is would be your equal to sign. Those are your three basic types. And so I am going to do one example of each. Here's the first one. What is 35% of 100? Now, if you use the formula, it says percent times base equals amount. I just have to look for, let me use a different color here. Come on, marker. Let's go with purple. If I look for the word of, the base is 140. Oh, what is 35% of 140? The of is your multiplication sign. And then the word is, I'll go pink for is. Boop. The word is your equal sign. And so in this one, it says, what is 35% of 140? And I am looking at my percent. Sorry, my computer's a little slow tonight. The percent is 35. That's right there. The base, which I use blue for that, the base is on the other side of the word of. It's right here. It's 35% of 140. So percent times base equals the amount, which I used green before, and that's what we're looking for. This is my, I guess you could call this as like my X. So actually I shouldn't use X because that looks like a multiplication sign. How about we just use capital A for amount? So it's 0.35 times 150 equals A. So you just multiply. And the answer is 49. Then let's look at another example. Okay, 63 is 180% of what number? Okay, so the of is right here. The is right there. The percent is the 18%, and it says 18% of what number? So my what number is my base. And the only thing left that I haven't highlighted yet is this 63 over there. So when you look at the problem of percent times base equals amount, yellow and blue make green. When I compare it to the word problem up here and I'm looking at it, I can see that the word of comes between the percent and the base. So my base is what I'm looking for this time. So we'll just call that B. We're looking for base. So it's 0.18 times the base equals 63. In order to figure out the base, if two numbers multiplied together, like 2 times 3 is 6, right? That means that if I take the 6 and I divide it by the 3, it'll give me the 2. Or if I take the 6 and divide it by the 2, it'll give me the 3. So if I'm looking for the base, all I have to do is take the amount of 63 and divide it by the percent, which they have to do that first. Change your percent into its decimal form before you divide. And then when you divide, you get 350. So if you have 18% of 350, you only have 63. Like for example, if you took a multiple choice test with 350 questions in it, and you only got 63 of them correct, 63 out of 350 is 18%. And I'm about out of time, so I'm going to have to do a third lecture video.